it was. We had a 1:27.51 from Romain Grosjean, and from Degrassi a 1:27.53. 200ths of a second it decided, and 41. So they're some of the really experienced runners that they've got here this weekend. In terms of results, Luca Degrassi 4 victories to his name, and Villa on 3.
Especially with the super soft tyre that Bridgestone have bought for the fast again at the conclusion of lap 3. Degrassi in 4th place and just a second and a half behind D'Ambrosio, and one suspects that they'll just slot in and find a rhythm, because it's the tyre management is going to be so critical for the drivers. David, how do they look after the tyre?
Well, I think what you're looking at is Degrassi here playing a sensible role. There's no point getting under D'Ambrosio's wing at the moment and sliding around. He's one of the most experienced drivers in a variety of...
The car normally keeps a reasonable balance. If you don't, the car starts oversteering, and then it gets really, really hard to drive it because it just snaps into oversteer. So the guys with the experience will probably be better at that, but it's not always the guys with the experience that are quick enough. You know, the young guys are hungry in there and they're fighting, and for a few laps they'll nail the throttle until the tires start falling away. Interestingly, Volchetti, which is in 24th, I mean, he had a bit of a coming together in the first lap and ended up in the pits, but he's been setting...
Well, he's losing out a little bit to the the 3 cars ahead of him, as we go in car with Javier Villa. And Villa moving up into 19th position ahead of Michael Herc, and flames flying from the Durango car ahead.
This is what he needs to do. He needs to be able to lock it in there, because his teammate is going to be caught with some back markers and consequently lose some valuable time. So this is the risk. This is the risk of dropping into the field. But again, against that call, you've got to protect against the safety car. And so far, incredibly, we've had very few shunts or chamozzles out there. A few cars have run a little bit wide on their own, and we've had one park itself alongside the barrier, Texera, but he was well out of the way, not enough to justify a safety car.
Well, I can tell you, last lap round, Nico Hülkenberg managed a 1:33.727 seconds, and that was just 0.2 of a second.
And here we see it, just getting a good toe. Yeah, he's not actually taking any blocking stance, just a little bit in the middle of the road, just enough to let you know. I'm not going to make it that easy, but he had a good run coming out of the corner beforehand, the New Holland corner. Incredible to think that Degrassi, as we see him sawing away at the wheel here, was one of the ones to be a main runner. Certainly the race setup has not followed suit in terms of the pace that he's shown in qualifying, and whatever race setup they've gone for is being a major drama. Looking at close up ahead of him, Parent, Rodriguez, Nunez. Mortaro has been the big winner there in those pit stops. He was down the field and now up to 6th place, 0.4 of a second behind Degrassi.
Yeah, I mean, the GP2 cars, when we talk about them, you know, an engine which develops about 625 horsepower. So it's, you know, it's a lot of power in a little car. It's as near to Formula 1 as you can get. I mean, A1 and GP2 cars are very similar in performance relative to Formula 1. So it's a good stepping stone, as is A1, for to try to get drivers to learn about tyre control and tyre discipline, and about managing a race. You know, you have a pit stop to make, as Formula 1 has to do. So it's a real drive.
Maldonado, one of the big losers, down in now currently 11th place, battling with close Parent, Rodriguez, and see him look down the inside, look down the outside, several places he's trying to get by. So he's hard done by. He was right up there at the sharp end with that battle with...
Just losing out on that occasion, with Van der Garde managing to find the way out of this group. But there, the moment that Kobayashi and Hiro Van der Garde first got together, but Van der Garde manages to hang on to it, albeit briefly, and Kobayashi trying to get out of the way. Great wheel-to-wheel action, and in-car as they show, and he's on the grass. Well, I tell you, it takes... Grosjean leads 3.4 seconds to the good ahead of Vitaly Petrov. Petrov has been turning the faster laps in recent laps, 13 laps remaining. Is Grosjean just stroking it down to the flag with a significant advantage, or is he perhaps struggling a little bit on this second set of rear tyres that he has on board? Well, with time will tell, as Petrov continues to eat into that advantage. 3.4 seconds to the good. As I said, he's gained enough
in qualifying because he was right on it. Now here we see it, just locks up the rears, I think just a little, back sliding out. He's on opposite lock here, just about hanging on.
Over the Barcelona competition team run by Enrique Scalabroni, and now we get a sign of just what went wrong, and he just headed for the curb. And that wasn't quite the instant, and just too many inside curbs.
Well, he didn't get knocked off.
He's about to be eaten up by Danny Kloss, who looks to challenge.
Whoa! That was so close. 190 miles an hour, you're rubbing front wheel against rear wheel. You just don't even want to go there. You don't even want to think about it. Give him a couple of inches. Don't go over the top of him. It's much better to go around either side. But I tell you what, that was so close. And maybe it took his breath away. It took mine away on that one, because you're not going slow at that.
I think he took his front wing away, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mortara, as we see problems for Danny Kloss. He just tagged onto the back of that group, and he has suffered some sort of mechanical failure.